the guides and rules about etiquette are not about the self at all. And something that you see over and over again is that kind of the whole point of proper etiquette in how you behave and how you talk in conversations is to actually get you outside of yourself and start looking and caring for other people. Because here's the problem. As St. Augustine said, we are born incurvatus se, curved in on ourselves. And Martin Luther repeated this at numerous points, and it's right. We are selfish creatures by nature. We are born caring for our own needs and desires. And this is the problem with being an authentic self, because the authentic self is selfish. And if we're not concerned about societal constraints on who we are, we tend to use our freedom to feed our passions, to just do the things that make us feel good. So when you're looking at something like etiquette, what it does is it's there to restrain. It's there to civilize you, to help force you to cultivate good behavior, force you to cultivate virtue. Because if you're authentic, you just do whatever you feel like you want to do in your heart. But if you start to look at rules surrounding etiquette and conversations, you start to recognize that actually these are rules that help you to look at what other people need. So rules about etiquette often have to do with things like how much you talk about yourself, when you should be quiet, when you should listen to somebody else, the kinds of questions that you should ask another person that aren't going to be rude, the kinds of questions you ask another person that are going to actually lead to you caring for them. And here's a general rule about etiquette, is that when you're talking about etiquette, you're looking at yourself and how you behave toward others. You are not using it as a way for you to judge the people around you. So it makes you a better citizen. It makes you a better neighbor. It makes you a better friend. And people recognize this. And I mean, sure, right? If you go to a dinner party and you show up and you start telling them that they put their forks in the wrong place, you're going to come off just as a jerk, right? And proper etiquette says that you don't do that, because you're just concerned about what you do, not what other people are doing. But aside from trying to do that, which hopefully you don't do, when you are displaying the proper rules of etiquette and manners, other people are going to notice. And they're going to notice in a very positive way, because they're going to think, oh, that person was very respectful toward me. Oh, that person really seemed like they cared about me. That person offered to help when they were, at the party here, or, they stood up when I came to greet them and saw them sitting down at a restaurant. They showed respect to me in that way. They didn't, shove food in their mouth before everybody else did, looking and acting selfish. They showed that they actually cared about the group of people that were around them. So the loss of etiquette is part of a broader cultural problem, which is that we are losing the external things and looking for inner authenticity in the self. But really, the external things are good for us. They give us a sense of what we are to do. They take away our anxieties about what we're to do in various situations, because they just give us standards and rules. They help us to actually look for the good of others in social situations instead of just being selfish. And they help us to see that who we are as people is not just these isolated, free wills that can just go make free choices to try to find happiness somewhere. We're people who live in a society, in a culture that we've been given. We've inherited tradition. We've inherited things about the place that we're in. We've inherited, families that we're a part of, that we didn't choose. And all of that is actually good. And so we can recognize that and then live within the boundaries that God has given us in the place where we are in our life and in our society.